Greetings, fellow thinkers and drinkers, and welcome to another Deep Purple video. Last time we discussed the band, I was giving vent to my feelings on the incarnations marks of the lineup, of which I am considerably less enamored. In, I did briefly mention Mark 1 in that video, and I was intending this video to be a more detailed analysis of Mark 2 and why I find them to be the superior incarnation of the band, at least in the beginning. But it seemed a little bit unfair, I think, on Mark One just to brush them off so casually. We do owe them a debt of gratitude, after all. Were it not for Mark One, probably we would not be listening to the band today, and I would be talking about something else. They they came to, all right, this is not the history less aware of what happened, but they came together and within actually 11 months, they recorded 3 studio albums and did quite a lot of touring. So that's perhaps not too surprising that some of their recorded output is a bit ropey here and there. They are very much of that time. It does sound like a late 60s band, at least how one imagines a late 60s rock band to sound. I don't have much, if anything, comparable in my collection. So it could be I'm doing them a disservice here, or perhaps doing late 60s rock bands a disservice. I don't know. Were Vanilla Fudge, for example, out there doing this sort of thing better? Possibly, I don't know. I don't listen to them. I can't say. But this is quite a unique, yeah, quite a unique style for me, and I enjoy it. I really do. I mean, I said last time. Obviously, they had to progress. They had to move. I had to develop. But for what it is, I think it gets unfairly overlooked, ignored, and perhaps derided by certain people who maybe should know better. Anybody who is only familiar with later incarnations of the band, the first thing that will, upon listening to these 3 albums, the first thing that will be apparent is that Mr. Lord displays a prominent and dominant organ. No doubt to the satisfaction and delight of Mrs. Lord, but probably less so in the case of Mr. Blackmore. Nick Simper, the bassist, the original bassist, has gone on to say that, and I'm paraphrasing somewhat, so please forgive me, that they already were on their way to becoming the really hard rock prototype heavy metal band that they became within rock during Mark One, but that John Lord fucked it up with his classical ideas. I don't hear that across these albums. Yes, John seems to be the dominant creative force. For whatever reason, maybe he just was the dominant creative force at the time. They recorded 3 albums in less than a year here. You're sitting in the studio, you need to do something. And if these are the only ideas, or these are the best ideas, then these are the things that get recorded. Okay, we don't know. But certainly, at some point, Blackmore developed into a more forceful personality, and subsequently, Lord took a back seat. We all know that, but here he's very dominant. These albums have also been accused of lacking direction. Again, I don't totally get that. Yes, they're experimental. And yes, some of the experiments, well, let's say some work better than others. But that's the nature of experimentation. You have to be prepared to fail to discover what works. But I don't see too many failures, for want of a better word, here. Yes, okay, it's of its time. It is the psychedelic 60s rock. It sounds dated. It does. That sounds pejorative, and probably it is to some extent, but I don't mean it. But it maybe it's the production values to some extent, but it really does sound of its time. If you played it to somebody and they didn't know Deep Purple at all, and you asked them what era this music came from, I don't think they had any problem whatsoever in dating it, within a year or 5. And it just is what it is. Initially, there were far too many covers of other people's material. But again, given the hectic circumstances, the way they came together, the pressure they were undoubtedly under, but not just the three albums. They did a lot of touring, especially in the States, which, well, yeah, it did them some good, certainly. Yeah. But anyway, look, let's just have a look at each of the albums. Shades of Deep Purple, the first one, I think came out July 68. I could look it up. I'm too lazy. Nice little opening instrumental. It's okay. Says hello. Does this sound much different to what was going on at the time? I guess it does and it doesn't. Again, I'm not a great connoisseur uh, of what was really going on. Effectively before Black Sabbath's debut and Deep Purple in rock, it's at some point where my attention started. In retrospect, obviously, not quite that old, but yeah, I like Andy Address. Hush, obviously, all right, we all know about Hush, huge hit for them. Put their name on the map. Um, Probably was enough to ensure that they were around long enough to record the next couple of albums, if nothing else, on the strength of that one single hit alone. They still play it in concert today. It is what it is. It's a good. I did hear the original version of this song sometime. Very different, actually. Okay, One More Rainy Day, an original composition. It's Beatles-esque. Is that a bad thing? Depends on your opinion of the Beatles, I guess. I like it. It's good. They have a good understanding of melody, which perhaps not so surprising. I mean, they were not just out of school, were they? They'd all served their apprenticeships in various shape or form. They were all experienced, capable musicians by this point. Lord, I think being a couple of years older than the rest, had the more significant career. And certainly on a technical level, was probably the most musically accomplished. So it's perhaps no surprise. They'd made their, they'd done their learning by doing earlier. Um, Knocked off probably quite a lot of the rough edges that everybody has when they're beginning. So I like this. It's a good song. Yeah, the prelude. I'm so glad. Well, all right, okay. Not the strongest thing on here, but I don't mind it. Mandrake Root actually does show a lot of promise. Really does. He, you can only say that with the benefit of hindsight, can't you? You you can't project into the future. But looking back now, yes, there were hints. It was portentous, shall we say? Portentous. Their cover of Help is I don't know. I mean, Help is just such a harmless pop ditty on the first, when you first listen to the Beatles song. And this slow, drawn out, dramatic, emotional version, I'm really torn on this. Maybe it depends on the mood I'm in when I'm listening to it. I actually think this is a great success. Or sometimes I just think it's totally, it just failed and it's absolutely annoying. I don't know. Okay, Love Help Me. Yeah, it's an upbeat. It's a rock song of its time. It's got a commercial hook to it, as most rock songs of the time did. I actually like it. It's one of those little guilty pleasures you have, isn't it? I like to play Love Help Me when nobody's around. All right, Hey Joe. Okay, fine. A standard, good version of it. No, again, they were filling up space here. There's very little original work on this album. And, back in the day, you get like 40 minutes of music on an album. You're struggling, you're struggling to come up with original material for half of that. Yeah. Well, either you're lacking inspiration or the clock is ticking. I don't know. And I think we know what was happening here. Now, I have these, the remastered editions that came out in the early 2000s. So there's an extra track on here, Shadows. Yeah, nice. And then a couple of alternate takes. By the time they got around to recording the Book of Taliesin, they had progressed. There's no two ways about this. I mean, I really like Listen, Learn, Read On. It's a strange track, actually. Some spoken word. vocals towards the end. It's yeah, in some ways, it's got that almost that medieval feel to it. Has it? Really? Yes, I hear it. Would not have been out of place on the debut Rainbow album. I like it. It rocks. Ah, Ring That Neck. What can you say? An original instrumental, but a great one. Wonderful piece of music. They do a cover of Kentucky Woman, that's Neil Diamond's song. I actually rather like it. I mean, yeah, it's a good song. You know, you can't. It's if it's playing, you know, not the, it's guaranteed almost not to offend anybody. It's a nice pop song if you like, and they give it their own stamp. I like it. It's fine. Yeah. By nature, it's a cover. It has to be filler, but they did well with it. Okay, exposition. We can work it out again. Now, when we get to the Shield, this is starting to get interesting now. You can see this. They still it's the '60s, isn't it? There's this progressive um, gene still in the rock world. People are trying these weird things out, and from we can well, sorry, no, not from there at all, but from the Shield through Anthem. These are good songs. Showed that this lineup had something. They had their own voice. It didn't really get the chance to develop much beyond this, but these are really good songs. I like them, and they close out on an absolutely execrable take of River Deep Mountain High, which they manage, and God alone knows how, to stretch out for over 10 minutes. God, it's terrible. It really is. Again, looking at the bonus tracks, there's nothing to get particularly excited about there. And we get to their last album. All right. Chasing Shadows. Good. Nice original song. Driving beat. Interesting arrangements. The same with Blind. Um, it's again, this is you're starting to see where this could have gone, but it's not necessary, or it's not inevitable. Excuse me, inevitable to say that this would have gone on to become in rock. There's a lot of ways this could have gone, but you can see you can sense a coalescence here that this lineup was starting to find its own voice, its own direction, and I think the results are good. Unfortunately, they decided to cover Donovan's La Lena. Now, look, you can say what you like about the song or the version. To me, it always had profound soporific qualities. If there's anything here that I skip over on these three albums, this is it. Don't like it. Fault Lines is a little bit instrumental. The Painter again, yeah, perhaps not the strongest of their original material. Wouldn't say it's filler, but yeah. Now, why didn't Rosemary is actually a damn fine song, actually. Could you hear something like this on Fireball? Yeah, maybe. Maybe you could. Yeah. Uh, it's not that heavy, but this just I don't know, I just like it. The title always was it's a reference to the film Rosemary's Baby, isn't it? But why didn't Rosemary take the pill? Well, if they'd seen the film, they'd know exactly why Rosemary did not take the pill, because their object was to conceive a child. Presumably not the child that she ultimately conceived, but so that the choice of song title always struck me as a bit weird. Uh, Maybe I'm just overthinking this. Bird has flown again, a little bit more epic, and yeah, they're stretching their wings here. Sorry. Um, More ambitious arrangements, constructions. Again, this is not the precursor to in rock. If they'd followed this up with Led Zeppelin 3 or something like that, or something akin to that, then you would not have been surprised. Or perhaps something more towards Led Zeppelin 4 if they were pushing the heaviness of it. But there's no indication here that in rock was less than a year away. I don't hear it. I hear good stuff. I hear them finding their voice. I hear they're getting heavier. They're getting more focused. But I don't hear the foundations of in rock on this. They finish off here with April. Now, this is the one occasion you can't deny that this is John Lord's track for at least 8 of the 12 minutes duration is built up with this orchestral piece, string piece. Which, when it starts in the beginning, if you close your eyes, you can almost see the train pulling into the abandoned western town. Charles Bronson disembarked from the train, playing a harmonica. It reminds me of is it Leone? Morricone, wasn't it? What was the name of the film? Once Upon a Time in the West, something like that. I'm sure you know what I mean. It's very reminiscent or resonant of that for some, or at least is to my ears or my imagination. I don't like this. It's ambitious, but it's a bit pretentious. This you can see where the concerto came from. He was yeah, warming up, Mr. Lord, warming up for his concerto, which he must have been scribbling away at by this point. You can see, yeah, that is, this is a precursor, a prelude. Yeah, it does. I mean, well, the last 3 minutes of the song where there is an actual song. I think by this point I've maybe just switched off. I can't. Yeah, not the strongest end to the album. And I know this is the one a lot of people talk about. A lot of people seem to like as this is the best thing Mark three, fuck, Christ, yeah. Mark one ever did. I wouldn't go that far. Um, the only things of particular interest in the bonus tracks are a couple of versions of Emaretta, which was a single and not released on any album. Well, there you have it. I mean, what else can you say about it? I've mentioned the production it very much helps to date it. Some of the ideas are better than others, but that's hardly a revelatory statement, is it? I think the main point is I'm starting to like this. Well, not starting. I've liked it for a long time. It is by far not. It is not my go-to Deep Purple. I've made that point before, but um, having just compared, sorry, having just reviewed Marks 3, 4, and 5, where I express my lack of appreciation for and of. It's tempting or perhaps inevitable that I will compare them to this and try to put them in some sort of order, which just seems to be something the human brain is intent on doing, whether it makes sense or not. Do I like Mark 1 better than Mark 5? Yes. Do I like it better than Mark 4? Yes. Do I like it better than Mark 3? Yes, with caveats. There is nothing here across these three albums as great as the track Burn. One may, You Fool No one may make the point for Stormbringer or You Fool, Soldier of Fortune. But there's nothing across these three albums as bad as some of the contents of Stormbringer, Contest the Band, and especially Slaves and Masters. So yeah, I do prefer a lot of this to any of those other incarnations about which I spoke so lovingly in the last video. Anything else to take from this? Well, a couple of things. Rod Evans has not done too many favors by the mix here. He's very low in the mix. Deliberate? I don't know. Is Derek Lawrence still around? We could ask him. I don't know. He has a good voice for the softer material. Wouldn't say he was a crooner, but we've all heard this. You know what I'm saying. He's not so good when they try to you know be rockier, be harder. Listen, learn, read on. Maybe that's why he speaks half of it. I don't know, but What's the other one I was thinking of here? Chasing Shadows. Yeah, he's not particularly convincing on that. Um, in hindsight, it is understandable that the others felt the need to replace him if they already had in mind the direction they wished to go in. I'm less convinced about the need to replace Nick Simper. I must be honest. Um, legend has it that the band thought that his bass playing was too rooted in the 50s, 60s and rock and roll. But I don't know. Maybe it's I just don't know what I'm talking about. But he's actually quite prominent in a lot of these songs. I find his playing is inventive and is creative, and not only does it suit the song, but he's not just one of these guys holding down the root note. He's playing, he's contributing. I'm not saying he's a better or a worse player than Roger Glover. I don't think anybody could doubt the value Roger Glover brought to Deep Purple as a songwriter, and perhaps amongst a group of very fiery personalities, somebody who had their feet more very much on the ground. Probably wouldn't have been what it went on to be without him. I don't think that's too much of an exaggeration. But whatever maybe it was personal. I don't know. Maybe Simple was not contributing to the songwriting. I have no idea. Um, or maybe his contributions were not particularly valued, not seen to be taking the band in the direction that Lord Pace and Blackmore wanted to go. Don't know. But in terms of what you hear, I find the less understandable that they felt the impetus to get rid of him. So there must be something else to the story. No idea what. And at this point, even if anybody did try to clarify it, one would have to have some doubts about the veracity of their explanation. I mean, not only time, but there's been, too much water under the bridge here. Uh, Too many recriminations. And people, you tend to remember what you want to remember, don't you? But there you have it. I was going to do, oh, excuse me, I was going to discuss the live recording I have of them, but I'm not because I have another video lined up discussing the Deep Purple's live development, which I'm going to base on the official and myriad of bootleg recordings I have. See if we can make something of that. So I'm afraid I'm going to postpone any discussion of that until I get round to that particular video. But no, I like this stuff. I really do. I said I prefer it. I prefer it to some of the later stuff. I really do. For some reason it gets overlooked. That's fine. Okay, I can listen to it if I want. Don't have to listen to it in a group. But okay, so as far as Deep Purple goes, next time it will probably I will be taking a look at Mark II, at least the recorded output of Mark II, and try to explain as best I can why it's for me it's superiority. In between, there may be some other stuff coming out. Yeah, I've got a couple of other things in the pipeline in various stages of production. So we'll see. Don't have any particular schedule. These things tend to get published as and when they're finished. All right, so that's it for Deep Purple Mark One. Again, yes, happy to talk about stuff I have a more positive attitude to. Don't like dissing the band that much, but again, it has to be honest. Okay, then until next time, thank you and marche en